Hello fellow lovers of the liminal and the weird, and welcome to another video by Liminal Spaces. I found this in a book haul recently. These are Christmas stories, but they're sci-fi stories. And I was really amazed because Gene Wolfe wrote a story in here. And I would like to read that story to you today. I thought it would be proper for the day. And I'm actually going to do another one tomorrow, an Arthur C. Clarke story, so you can expect 2 of these. I read this story right when I got this book, and I had a hard time really understanding what was going on. I'm going to be doing a reread when I read it to you now, but I had to do a little bit of research in order to really understand this story, and that is that I had to look up Befana and learn about this Italian, I guess, witch named Befana. And this is a Christmas legend I've never come across, and I've come across quite a few over time and folk and fairy tales and myth and studying all that, but I've never heard of Befana, so this was completely new to me. I'm just going to read really quick the Wikipedia page that talks about her. In Italian folklore and folk customs, the Befana is a witch-like old woman who delivers gifts to children throughout Italy on Epiphany Eve, the night of January 5th, in a similar way to Santa Claus or the Three Magi. The Befana is a widespread tradition among Italians and thus has many names. She is part of both popular national culture and traditional folk culture, and is akin to other figures who roam about sometimes during the 12 days and reward the good, punish the bad, and receive offerings. The Befana is a mysterious, contradictory figure of unclear origins. This character is enhanced by the fact that she is overall neglected by scholars, that's probably why I haven't come across her, but is the subject of much speculation by the ones who do mention her. Pre-Christian, Christian, and syncretism, I'm not sure what that word means, have all been postulated as explanations of her origins. In some parts of Italy, especially the central regions, mumming takes place on Epiphany Eve. Dolls are made of her, and effigies are burnt, and bonfires are often lit. She brings gifts to good children, typically sweets, candies, or toys, but coal to bad children. She is usually portrayed as a hag, riding a broomstick through the air, wearing a black shawl, and is covered in soot because she enters the children's houses through the chimney. She is often smiling and carries a bag or hamper filled with candy, gifts, or both. She is not only loved, but also feared and mocked, particularly by children. So, I would like to read you this story by Gene Wolfe. It is called La Befana, which is why we had to look that up to see what that name meant. So here we go. The alien and the very old meet at Christmas. La Befana by Gene Wolfe. When Zoz, home from the pit, had licked his fur clean, he howled before John Bonanno's door. John's wife, Teresa, opened it and let him in. She was a thin, stooped woman of 30 or 35, her black hair shot with gray. She did not smile, but he felt somehow that she was glad to see him. She said, "He's not home yet. If you want to come in, we've got a fire." Zoz said, "I'll wait for him," and six-legging politely across the threshold, sat down over the stone bananas had rolled in for him when they were new friends. Mariah and Mark, playing some sort of game with beer bottle caps on squares scratched on the floor dirt, said, "Hi, Uncle Zoz," and Zoz said hi in return. Banana's old mother, whom Zoz had brought here from the pads in his rusty power wagon the day before, looked at him with piercing eyes, then fled into the other room. He could hear Teresa relax, the wheezing outpuffed breath. He said half humorously, "I think she thinks I bumped her on purpose yesterday." "She's not used to you yet." "I know," Zoz said. "I told her, Mother Bonanno, it's their world and they're not used to you." "Sure," Zoz said. A gust of wind outside brought the cold in to replace the odor of the gog hutch on the other side of the left wall. "I tell you, it's hell to have your husband's mother with you in a place as small as this." "Sure," Zoz said again. Maria announced, "Daddy's home." The door rattled open and Bananas came in looking tired and cheerful. Bananas worked in the slaughtering market, and though his cheeks were blue with cold, the cuffs of his trousers were red with blood. He kissed Teresa and tousled the hair of both children and said, "Hi, Zozzy." Zoz said, "Hi, how does it roll?" and moved over so Bananas could warm his back. Someone groaned, and Bananas asked a little anxiously, "What's that?" Teresa said, "Next door." "Huh. Next door, some woman. Oh, I thought it might be Mom. She's fine. Where is she? In back?" Bananas frowned. "There's no fire in there. She'll freeze to death." "I didn't tell her to go back there. She can wrap a blanket around her." Zaz said, "It's me. I bother her." He got up. Bananas said, "Sit down." "I can go. I just came to say hi." "Sit down." Bananas turned to his wife. "Honey, you shouldn't leave her in there alone. See if you can get her to come out." "Johnny." "Teresa, damn it." "Okay, Johnny." Banana took off his coat and sat down in front of the fire. Maria and Mark had gone back to their game. In a voice too low to attract their attention, Banana said, "Nice thing, huh?" Zaz said, "I think your mother makes her nervous." Banana said, "Sure." Zaz said, "This isn't an easy world." "You mean for us?" "No, it ain't. But you don't see me moving." Zaz said, "That's good. I mean, here you've got a job anywhere. There's work." "That's right." Unexpectedly, Maria said, "We got enough to eat here, and me and Mark can find wood for the fire. Where we used to be, there wasn't anything to eat." Bananas said, "You remember, honey?" "A little." Zaz said, "People are poor here." Bananas was taking off his shoes, scraping the street mud from them and tossing it into the fire. He said, "If you mean us people are poor every place." He jerked his head in the direction of the back room. "You ought to hear her tell about our world." "Your mother?" Bananas nodded. Maria said, "Daddy, how did grandmother come here?" "Same way we did." Mark said, "You mean she signed a thing? A labor contract?" "No, she's too old. She bought a ticket, like you would buy something in a store." Maria said, "That's what I mean." "Shut up and play. Don't bother us." Zaz said, "How'd things go at work?" So. Bananas looked toward the back room again. "She came into some money, but that's her business. I didn't want her to talk to the kids about it." "Sure. She says she spent every dollar to get here, They haven't used dollars even on Earth for 50 to 60 years, but she still says it. How do you like that?" He laughed, and Zaz laughed too. "I asked how she was going to get back, and she said she's not going back. She's going to die right here with us. What could I say?" "I don't know." Zaz waited for Bananas to say something, and when he did not, he added, "I mean, she's your mother." "Yeah." Through the thin wall, they heard the sick woman groan again and someone moving about. Zaz said, "I guess it's been a long time since you saw her last." "Yeah, 22 years, Newtonian." "Listen, Zazie." "Uh-huh." "You know something? I wish I had never set eyes on her again." Zaz said nothing, rubbing his hands. "That sounds lousy, I guess." "I know what you mean. She could have lived good for the rest of her life on what that ticket cost her." Bananas was silent for a moment. "She used to be a big, fat woman when I was a kid, a great big woman with a loud voice. Look at her now, dried up and bent over. It's like she wasn't my mother at all. You know the only thing that's the same about her? That black dress. That's the only thing I recognize, the only thing that hasn't changed. She could be a stranger. She tells stories about me I don't remember at all." Maria said, "She told us a story today." Mark added, "Before you came home, about this witch." Maria said, "That brings presents to children. Her name is La Befana, the Christmas witch." Zaz drew his lips back from his double canines and jiggled his head. "I like stories." "She says it's almost Christmas, and on Christmas 3 wise men went looking for the baby, and they stopped at the old witch's door, and they asked which way it was, and she told them, and they said, 'Come with us.'" The door to the other room opened, and Teresa and Banana's mother came out. Banana's mother was holding a tea kettle. She edged around Zaz to put it on the hook and swing it out over the fire. "And she was sweeping and she wouldn't come," Mark said. "She said she'd come when she was finished. She was a real old, real ugly woman. Watch, I'll show you how she walked." He jumped up and began to hobble around the room. Banana looked at his wife and indicated the wall. "What's this?" "In there?" "The charity place. They said she could stay there. She couldn't stay in the house because all the rooms are full of men." Maria was saying, "So when she was all done, she went looking for him, only she couldn't find him and she never did." "She's sick?" "She's knocked up, Johnny, that's all. Don't worry about her. She's got some guy in there with her." Mark asked, "Do you know about the baby Jesus, Uncle Zaz?" Zaz groped for words. "Giovanni, my son." "Yes, Mama?" "Your friend. Do they have faith, Giovanni?" Apropos of nothing, Teresa said, "They're Jews next door." Zaz told Mark, "You see, the baby Jesus has never come to my world." Maria said, "And so she goes all over every place looking for him with her presents, and she leaves some with every kid she finds, but she says it's not because she thinks they might be him, like some people thinks, but just a substitute. She can't never die. She has to do it forever, doesn't she, Grandma?" The bent old woman said, "Not forever, dearest, only until tomorrow night." Like all of Gene Wolfe's writing, this story is really hard to comprehend at first, and I think we have to read it through a couple of times. Near the end, the dialogue is people speaking in turn, not necessarily to each other, but like three people talking at once about different things. But from what I can understand of this story, much of humanity has moved to another planet that has another species, an alien species that has 6 legs and hands. And this is what Zaz is a part of. And humans are really poverty-stricken and happy to find work, but it's hard work, it's rough work, and this family of immigrants, human immigrants on Zaz's planet, are trying to live through this poverty, trying to do the best they can. And this man, who's called Bananas by Zaz, has his mother has come to join them, and I believe that the final reference of the story is that she is this Christmas witch, that she's going to be giving out presents on Zaz's planet to the kids there. It's a short, fun Christmas story. It introduced me to a mythological creature, Befana, who I absolutely was not familiar with, which was really fun. And it's the first Book of the New Sun reading I've done of Gene Wolfe, and it was really interesting. He still has this very opaque writing style that you have to work very hard to try and piece together what exactly is happening. But once you read it a few times, it becomes a lot easier. So there you go, Gene Wolfe's Christmas story. Happy holidays to everybody out there, and we will see you next time.